Welcome back to another episode of Talking That Ishin Skeen podcast. For the first time ever, I am here solo, no Skeen, and it's okay. I'm just gonna sit here and talk to myself, I guess. We got a good topic today here in Treetop Studios. So today's topic is gonna be really interesting. I feel like there are multiple views on this and something I'm kind of passionate about too. I really didn't know what to talk about today, and I was super confused coming into this for the first time. I'm like, damn, no Skeen. I got to do this on my own and talk to myself for X amount of time. But I was talking to one of my friends and I asked his opinion. He said that, I don't have Twitter, but he said on Twitter there's this thread that's trending where some shorty posted a screenshot of a guy who messaged her and said that he wants to take her out for some ice cream. So she put him on blast, and I guess, bottom line, she wasn't happy with that. And she's like, this is, what is this kind of thing? A lot of people were coming at her. According to my boy, he said that some people were coming at her like, oh, that's why people like you don't get what they want. And then you have other people who are siding with her. And I think for me, from my perspective, it's like, at least you have somebody who wants to take you out. Okay, we can go into something, a relationship, and wanting to get to know somebody with standards and requirements. But you have somebody who's messaging you and telling you that they want to take you out. What's the big deal in going out for ice cream? My boy said that someone had mentioned, I guess in the comments in the thread, and said that taking somebody out for ice cream is childish. And I don't know, like from my standpoint, I don't think it is. Like for someone to be willing to want to spend time with you and get to know you should be enough. Why does there have to be such high standards on something so silly? After all, isn't that what we're looking for? Someone who wants to spend time with us? I guess maybe not everybody. And I feel like these women who have such high standards are always the women who don't, do things for themselves, and they're dependent on others or reliant on others to support them and do these things for them. But if that person wanted that in return, they wouldn't be able to provide that because, they can't stand on their own 2 feet. So I don't know. I feel like, for me, going into a relationship, yes, I can be critical, and I've said it time and time again. Excuse me. Unfortunately, I personally can be shallow at times, and I'm no Princess Diana, but I don't know what it is. I have these like standards and requirements that I can't get past. I think, through my experience, through life, I look back at who I was with, what I've experienced, and at this point in my life, I know what I don't want and what I do want. And I think, kind of to relate it to my childhood, like in anybody's childhood, you grow up with your parents and the way they raise you. And at a certain point in your adulthood, you look back at your childhood and you're like, okay, my parents did this. Now I know what I do and don't want to do with my own kids. So I kind of relate it in the same manner, if that makes sense. A relationship, emotionally, physically, like the attraction is important. The mental connection is super important. Like if you don't have standards in those aspects, then I think that's something that needs to be reevaluated. But in my case, I feel like, yes, sometimes I could be too harsh. And I think for me, it's something I'm trying to grow beyond and grow out of, because it can be wrong. Like you have someone, just to go back to the main topic, you have someone who's willing to get to know you, and you don't know, they could be like this amazing person who's going to offer you the world, but you're going to trip because they want to take you out for ice cream instead of a 5-star dinner. You're wildin'. I personally think like that's ridiculous, and that just says so much about that individual who's casting that judgment on that person. Like, okay, as humans, I feel like we cast judgment on people for different reasons. Maybe, it's a reflection of ourself and our insecurities. Maybe, it comes along from our experiences, which is what I said for me. Like, I know that I have an issue with that because of my experiences. Like, at this point in my life, yeah, I'm single, I'm alone, but there are so many things that I just feel like I don't know if it's I can't get past them, or if it's something just created out of fear, fear of failure. Um, and again, everyone's experience is different, but when you're gonna take a message that somebody sent you and you're gonna post it up with their picture in it, with their name in it, and just talk negative about them, more than anything, I think that's a reflection on yourself. And you need to really go back to the drawing board and evaluate your own personality, because that's terrible. Like, I don't know, for me, like, I can't see myself doing something like that. I think that's unfortunate to be that way. If that was me and I'm looking in the mirror, I would be super disappointed in myself. I don't know what you guys think about this, where your head's at, if you would side with that girl or if you would be against her, but I think that's super shallow. If anyone, hit me up and was like, "Oh, I want to take you out for ice cream or let's go for a walk," that's perfectly fine. Like, I'm not pressed about, where it is that we're going or what you want to do. At the end of the day, if you're trying to get to know somebody, isn't that the goal? Like, why does it matter where somebody wants to take you? I mean, who knows? Maybe that person that's taking you out for ice cream is loaded with money, if that's what you're worried about, or is more than capable of taking care of you, to the extent that you want and maybe beyond. But you don't know that unless you get to know the person. And if that's the only thing that you're after, then maybe you shouldn't be looking for that, because, you fuck with people's emotions in that sense, and that's wrong to me. Again, I don't know where you guys stand on this topic, but it was pretty interesting when my boy brought it up to me. I think it's crazy how you post one thing up and the internet is in uproar on both sides of the fence, because you look at it from a logical perspective and you're like, damn, like, no, there's no way that people would side with her. Like, that's really ridiculous of her to even be doing something like this. But then you scroll through the thread or you scroll through the internet and you see all this dumb shit and you realize, like, wow, there are people out there who are extremely ignorant, and kind of in a sense makes you feel good about yourself, because you're looking at the comments and the perspective that people have on certain topics and you're like, wow, it's just weird to me personally. I don't understand it, and I think it's pretty sad that we live in a world where people cast judgment on you for something so innocent. I feel like also, when you have people who are casting judgment like that and so willingly posting it on the internet, it makes you kind of take a step back, and I feel like it could cause like insecurities in people who are actually looking at this stuff. Aside from causing those insecurities, it makes other people apprehensive about wanting to hit you up or wanting to get to know you. And that's sad to me, because shit is hard already. People are already scared to, shoot their shot or whatever you want to call it. And when you see shit like that, it's like, damn, like, do I really want to hit this person up? And do I really want to get to know anybody? Because you don't know what you're dealing with. And it's sad. Like, people like this, to me, I think are the same people that create bullies. You're going to fucking take what someone says and does and just point fingers and laugh at it. Is crazy to me, especially when someone's being genuine. And that shit all starts at home. So I think if someone has the ability to take something so innocent, twist it, turn it, and have people completely against them, it's just wrong. Like me and Skeen always say, that shit always starts at home, and it always starts in your childhood. Whatever it may be, there's gotta be some type of correlation. super upsetting, super unfortunate, but really good topic. For now, I'm gonna take a break and I will be right back.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Skane here, back to let you know and remind you that my co-host Aisha has an amazing poetry book called Treetop Echoes. It is available now on Amazon as well as Barnes and Nobles. So if you're in the market for a new book, please pick it up. You will not be disappointed in this amazing poetry book. So the name of the book, once again, Treetop Echoes, available on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles. Get your copy today. Talking That Ish and Skeen podcast is now available on iHeartRadio and Apple Podcast. Say word, Skeen. Word to Big Bird. So now our show, me and Ish, you know how we doing it. Talking That Ish and Skeen podcast is now available on Amazon Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts. No excuse. You can't miss us. We there, we everywhere. Say word, Skeen. Word to Big Bird. So we'll talk to you soon. Take care, guys. Peace.
What's going on, guys? I'm back from my break. I know my recording is not going to be as long as Skeen's. I am really struggling with talking to myself. I actually just texted him and I let him know. I'm like, Skeen. Well, I said, oh. I'm trying my very best, but here we are. I'm back. And I was on Google. I found a little quote. I don't know, maybe just something that somebody wrote. But it relates to this. And, I feel like what that lady did, screenshotting, reposting what, that guy wanted to take her out on that ice cream date is super disrespectful. For me, I feel like she doesn't respect herself even, to have the ability or audacity to put somebody on blast like that who's trying to be kind to you is absolutely outrageous. So I found this on Google and I'm just going to go ahead and read it. It says, can we stop associating being kind with silencing ourselves? You can be a kind person and yet say no to things you don't like doing. You can be a kind person and yet say, I disagree. You can be kind and yet express yourself with anger. Being kind is about respecting people, including yourself. It's not about treating yourself like a doormat while saying yes to people's harshness. So, bottom line, I think, if you have the ability to disrespect somebody like that, for me, I think you're also disrespecting yourself. And if you can't treat yourself right, if you can't respect yourself, then obviously you're going to have the inability to do that for others, which is super unfortunate. I think in this situation, it's tough because people are agreeing with this lady. So because they're agreeing with her, I can't even say that she's going to take this back and say this is a learning lesson for her. I don't know. I don't know if she'll look through those comments and be like, oh yeah, people agree with me. Like, that's dumb as hell. He's cheap. He ain't shit. He wants to take me out for ice cream. Like, bitch, at least he wants to take your trifling ass out. So I can't even say that. I think she's going to go back and learn a lesson from this because of those other people who are just as ignorant as her. And again, it's so unfortunate. Like, I feel like we're in a world where it's so hard to date people. Like, it's already difficult enough to find people who are meeting your, physical and mental standards. So just by acting like this, like, you're making shit way more difficult for people who are actually trying or actually want to get to know somebody out there. Like, with experiences like this, you think that guy's gonna want to hit somebody else up right away? He's probably gonna have to heal from that. Like, that's embarrassing. Especially when your photo's in it and your name is in it. Like, she didn't even have the audacity to cut that out before she posted it for the public, which is sad. It's crazy to me. Like, you really don't care. And I don't know. Now, my thing is too, I'm wondering if she is posting shit like that and other men are seeing it, are those men gonna, I wouldn't be surprised. She probably has people in her DM saying, oh, don't worry, like, I'll take you here, I'll take you there. He's a bum ass or whatever. But then I feel like you have the opposing end where other guys are gonna be like, nah, she's a bitch. Like, I wouldn't even try that. Or who maybe don't even want to hit up any other female in fear of being rejected, being put on blast because somebody's gonna think they're corny. And that's fucked up and that's sad. I feel like too, because of this experience, like, it makes me think. In a regular world, I guess it would really be the guy who's shooting his shot. And situations like this is just gonna make it more difficult on men and the way they think about this. Because it's them, most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, I think, that are reaching out and they're like, hey, I want to take you out, or hey, you know, I'm into you, I want to get to know you, kind of thing. It's the men that are really shooting their shot for the most part. And seeing stuff like this on social media, that shit is not attractive. I would only assume that it would make men more apprehensive of wanting to reach out to people. So it's like a trickle effect. It's weird. It's like you do something that could be so minute in your head, but you don't realize the magnitude of how it affects the people around you, how it affects people that you don't even know. And that shit is sad that you can't even take the time out to think about your actions before you actually act on them, because it's not all about you. And I feel like that's the problem with people in society these days. You know, you do something without the thought of everyone else. You know, I get it. Sometimes we want to be selfish and sometimes we want to do things for ourselves and not think about anybody else. But in a situation like this, where you're involving somebody else and you're putting it out to the public, you have to understand the magnitude and the power of the internet. I just could never see myself putting somebody on blast like that. Do me and my girls talk? Yes, 100%. You know, they know what's going on in my life, at least to an extent. But would I ever take something like that and put it on the internet to embarrass somebody? Never. It wouldn't even cross my mind. And that's what scares me. Like, thinking about, you know, me bringing kids into this world. It's such a harsh world. And then we go and wonder, like, you know, why are people so soft? Or why are people this and that? You just question so much. But at the end of the day, it's because of people like her, you know, not considering the people around them and only thinking of themselves, just being selfish. It's super sad to me. I don't know. Those are my thoughts on this topic, and it's really infuriating. I feel super bad for that guy, and I hope one day that he finds the one for him. Obviously, it wasn't her, but karma's a bitch. And you know what? It gets people who deserve it at the end of the day, good or bad. I'm just gonna leave that right there for you guys. I would love to hear feedback on what your thoughts are on this topic, so hit us up. We're on Instagram, Spotify, Apple, all that stuff. You know, Ski, you hear him in these commercials advertising. So give us a listen, let us know your thoughts, and talk to you next time. Bye. Talking at Ish and Skeen.
Show you right.